Hi there, this is Deb from Deb's Corner Canada, and welcome. I am out in Atlantic Canada today where it's actually nice and sunny, which is lovely. So I wanted to go over on this particular segment 10 first kind of tells that you're with a covert narcissist. So I'm just going to dive in, and I've got little names for each of them. So number one, I call it the long distance game. So coverts are notorious for having long distance relationships and having a lot of communications online, like so many people just constantly in the orbit. And typically they'll reach out to people through, say, SM messages and stuff, or I used to really have a crush on you, anything that's going to kind of make you go, oh, isn't that sweet? That's the hook in the water, right? And so you'll never ever going to get from these people a real phone number that everybody else knows. Like it's not even going to be passed you. You will never even know it. So what's going to happen is they're going to communicate mostly through apps, or they'll share emails, they share phone. It's madness when you start unraveling it all. And they're only going to be ever in these apps. So that's a massive flag. And look them up. Check them out. We vet employers, we vet babysitters, we check, a potential, business we're looking into. Like, we look into that. So why would we not look into people that are sharing our bed or sharing our house or sharing our lives, right? It's just good to do in order for you to kind of start fresh and know what you're getting into. That's my opinion. Anyway, so they will text or call only during work hours, and you will not be able to text or call them on a weekend. You will not be able to call them at night. At lunch even you might not, because maybe the main supply has finally had enough and the narcissist has to call the main supply all the time because they're kind of getting annoyed with them. Happens often. So then we've got what I call number two, which is time waits for suckers. And when I say this, it typically will manifest as very, very, and I mean very extreme impatience. And I can give an example here. Say it's a restaurant. You're about to go to a restaurant and everything's fine and you get to this restaurant. But when you get to this restaurant, there's a line. All the rest of us, if we really like this restaurant, we'll wait 5 or 10 minutes. It doesn't matter if it's 2 minutes, or if it doesn't matter if it's 20 minutes or 3 hours. They are waiting for nothing and no one. It will not be happening. What they're going to do here, because they think, oh, it's beneath them to wait, is they will immediately just suggest something else. Or somehow you are not going to be at that restaurant. You are not going to eat at that restaurant. And this will become kind of how it goes, right? So number three, I like to call this one the relocation disassociation. And that consists either of the target coming to them, or it's framed as a testing phase. Sometimes they'll say, hey, if you come to my state or my country or wherever, we're gonna do this, that, and the other thing. So there's a lot of future faking also involved in this as well. And why would they do this? Well, they do it because the target support system actually can't clue that victim into what is really going on if they're nowhere around, right? It's a divide and conquer strategy, and it really works for them. And so what they're going to do at first is they want time with you. Oh, they just want to spend all their time with you. Then that's going to turn into you literally never leaving the house. And it's going to take a while, but that's what's going to happen. So the target support system can't really clue the victim in or talk to them, and they've got nobody to bounce things off of as to what's happening. So it's hard for them to kind of grasp the reality of what's going on, right? And if you're neurodiverse, like I happen to be, or a lot of people out there, which is kind of what this is for, that's really going to be something that's going to work really good with us. Like we like to put those roots in and really try hard, and we will go and we will drop everything else, even at the detriment of our legal health or maybe our family health or anything else. Like, we're just going to drop it. And that's what they want. They want you to drop everything, right? And then that's it. They're your only support. And that is their main goal in this. They also actually, it puts the actual victim actually as well on their turf. So it's kind of like, you have your turf, you have your house or wherever that is, and you have a space for you that's peaceful and that's your own. And they have whatever chaos they have going on wherever they are. So what they're going to do is that puts the victim really on their turf, right? So they know what everybody knows around town. They control the script. They control who this, new victim meets even. They control everything. There's no outside influences that are going to be allowed, not for long anyways. And if there are, there'll start being hints of problems with, your family members that are close or whatever. They're going to start hinting about things that have no truth in them whatsoever. Always ask. And so, they want to have that turf. They want to keep all those numerous and hidden little dirty little secrets and the current main supply secret controlled and absolutely separate from the new pony that's coming into the corral, right? Number 4, family binds, I call this one. So the newest supply, I don't like that word, but I say victim or supply, will be introduced, but only to a very small group of a covert's circle. And coverts tend to have, well, I like to call them sleeper cells, but different groups for different things. So they'll have, a group they do horrific toxic crap with, and that's probably the preferred group. And then they've got these, I look good groups. Okay, so you're going to go for the one that has meet the ones that have bought these stories, hook, line, and sinker. So these are really what I like to call the die-hard monkeys. And they have always simply just believed what they've been told. They've not checked anything out. They've not bothered to, help out or help with the problem. They don't care. They're with the covert. They don't care. So they've always simply kind of bought it's not me. It's always them. And they're always, and they're also really, really, really convinced here, like all the others in their past, right? So that the current, pony, that they're not with anymore. So they've got this side piece they're bringing into this group. And what they've told this group is the main supply is this and that and da-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. So this group is thinking, wow, this poor sweet person, man, they've been so, run over by this partner that, we have to find them someone. Oh, the poor thing. Oh, we'll keep your secret for you. We realize how they are. That's how it works. And so, they really are going, and this new pony is now that golden ticket for them. So the new pony being brought in to this little group is like, ooh, here's my ego. This is the new person. And that will make you kind of wonder right to begin with, why they do that. So this small group knows, but they'll keep that full supply a secret, which is sick. And so number 4, combining finances right away, and they'll do this to lock you in. So joint accounts, a house, a pet, anything money, car payments. So, your money is now together. And so that's how they're going to lock you in. It's going to be pretty quick. I'd say within a year, some kind of lock-in of some kind of money will happen, or you'll have a joint account or something. And what's going to happen is you're going to be discouraged from having your own accounts and having things in your own name, and always have things in your name. Because if something happens, then you will have the recourse to support yourself. That's just a tip on the way through. So credit and money resources that the victim may have kind of come into them, they're going to start drying up almost immediately. And that's going to be a regular decline. So say they have excellent credit when they hook up, that's eventually just going to go. Might even have them claim bankruptcy. And, they enjoy that. So it's really a lot of what I like to call one-way money disclosures. And it's not going to be the covert. It's going to be the victim that's telling, giving all of the secrets away, right? And number 5, money madness, I like to call this. So it kind of carries on a bit. But the new pony will maybe start being like overdue on bills and all that stuff. But they're still going to be giving the covert cash. And they're going to give the covert cash because coverts tend, unfortunately, to have a lot of side jobs, a lot of cash jobs. And, they're always looking for something online, or they're online doing things they're not supposed to do. And then, they're going to, hook up with other people, usually in the area, which is weird. And even if that new supply comes into town, they'll just put the other ones on hold. And then that new supply will start giving them cash. The reason they're going to give the cash is because the covert has told main supply, or the one that they're devaluing, that they're going to go have a side job. And this is just to get away. It's really for no other reason. And the main supply won't be able to reach them, and they're going to be freaking out, and the covert will show it to the group. They'll delete everything they wrote and show it to the group, which blows my mind. But anyway, so that's to hide any kind of paper trails. And really it will, it'll begin to really drain those resources so that, once those resources are drained, you're stuck, right? You're kind of still sitting there. Number 6, I call this one the reverse info dump. And that will be shown really a lot by details that only will go one way. So why? Well, it's intel collecting. So at the beginning, in order to use it against you later, at a later date. So when devalue sets in, that's when they're going to pull out all they know to make you feel like garbage. So number 7, selective friend or family mutism. This one needs to change. So the new target will not be told anything that is even remotely negative about the narcissist. Poor past relationship patterns. There won't even be a hint of how ruthless and brutal they were. Not a hint. And so, why is that? Well, they have seen, this little group here, they have seen what happens to those who even think about exposing a covert. They've seen it because they've seen other people lose their temper with them, get baited by them, and they know what's going to happen. They know that covert is going to go for the jugular. Eventually, that's what's going to happen. So frankly, also a lot of these, unfortunately, these long-term watchers are dark triads themselves and toxic themselves. And so those particular ones that are diehard are even worse, because what's going to happen here is they're going to tend to be, hot, cold, toxic themselves, and to that, new victim that maybe is starting to be devalued, right? So they're gonna just grab that popcorn and they are gonna watch that show, right? They're gonna be cool. They're gonna, they have kind of an idea, and I wrote it down here. It's better to be a pet than cattle. And that applies kind of to what I was just saying here, right? So that's kind of what they're doing, and what these monkeys, these diehard monkeys, do. They're also, they're just thinking you're the newest gladiator in the ring. Man, you're going to be pure entertainment for them. They get to hear all the gossip. They don't have to deal with any of the narcissist's horrible, toxic behaviors, because this new person's going to take them on for them. So they're only going to get the good. They're only going to get, the fake one that comes out to church, or the fake one that shows up at work smiling at everyone. That's what everyone's going to get. The good guy or the good girl, right? So number 8, I call this one the X files, like EX files. And either you're going to be told every horror story imaginable about their ex. And I'm going to tell you most of what they tell you, and this might not sit well with people, but most of what they're going to tell you about the ex, they're doing it. So if they say their ex is a cheater, if they say their ex is abusive, if they say their ex is this or that, that's what they've been actually doing. And, the previous partner, or the one that's kind of still on the hook, at this point, they're like really confused about what happened here? What's going on? So, it's either going to be, you're just going to hear horror story after horror story about this person, which you should always check out, by the way, always. Or you will not hear one single solitary word. And if you do not hear a single word, like say they have a partner, or that partner's on their way, usually they're going to tell you like the lightest thing they can of attachment to someone. So they might say, oh, we lived together, but it didn't work out. But, they're still here because I'm trying to help them out. That's the kind of crud you're going to hear on your way into the barn. So number 9. I call this one ignorance is bliss. And the target's going to notice really a lot here that little to no arguments are going to happen with a covert. I'm going to tell you, you can go a year and Mr. or Mrs. Charming is probably still going to be there. But that person's going to start sensing there's something wrong. Something isn't right. Listen to this. If I can give this message, listen to that one. So why do they do that? Well, they do that because that love bombing phase, that first phase that you go into, it's all about lust, and it's all about hiding deep, literally undercover. And so the narc will get a lot of feed from this. They're going to get a feed from the ex, who they're triangulating with this new pony, right? They're going to get so much attention, right? And they don't care if it's negative or positive. They couldn't care less. And so this is going to bring us to number 10. And this is called, I like to call this one explosion in the lab. And so the intimacy and the touching, as I said before, it's going to be off the charts in the beginning, just off the charts. And so, why do they do this? Well, they do this actually to hedge those bets. And so they know if they can push you in or hook you in with that trauma bond, which is touching, right? Touch, it gives you trauma bond. And so they know this. And that's really where this trauma bond is going to start. It's going to start in the love bomb phase. And the more intense it is, the more harder it will be to break it. So eventually the target is going to be really strongly discouraged from touching other people. And that's going to include like pets or family, children. So at first it'll be a little bit of a annoyance until the victim stops touching others, or others stop touching them. And eventually the covert is going to be the only touch, which is what they want, right? Because then they can control the other person by, I'm not going to hold your hand today, or I'm not going to do this or that, and leaves them in confusion again, right? So that is really also to hedge their bets. And so when devalue time kicks in, and it will, when the mask just kind of starts cracking, the trauma bond is going to form right there. And so eventually the target's going to be really, really strongly discouraged from touching people to the point where they just simply stop doing it. It's not worth the hassle anymore. It's just not worth the hassle. And that really, even more, will cement that trauma bond in. In any case, I thank you so much for tuning in. It's a little bit warm in here. But remember, I really want people to really know that, you have every right in your life to not have toxic people in your orbit. Every right. And, you have every right in your life to peace. And that's what I wish for every single one of you. See you later. Bye-bye.